what's up, everybody? Welcome to Stranger Things Has Happened. I'm Don Delasnooch, and this is Lunar Girl.
Hey, Vince.
How you doing, Kelly?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm pretty all right for a middle-aged guy.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, I went to the gym today, so I'm sore.
Yeah, I mean, besides, like, heat, arthritis.
It's not that hot here.
It's
like 84.
Well, I'm a middle-aged chick. It's always hot. It is always extremely hot, okay? So it could be 60 degrees, and I'll be sweating buckets.
Well,
yeah.
That seems like a personal choice, and I don't have to participate.
You're a man. You wouldn't get it anyway.
It's 84 degrees. I'm a man, and I don't get it.
That's a double whammy.
Yeah. Good times.
Well, when we left off at our last episode, we had two questions that I wrote down that I said that we would answer today. One of which being, what is the spell called when you're in and out of the ethereal plane?
Yeah.
That is called etherealness. It is an 8-hour spell. It's transmutation, and only bards, clerics, sorcerers, wizards, and warlocks can do that. So
we don't have a bard, do we?
We do in the Red 5 Tavern. Actually,
no,
we have a 2.
In Stranger Things, nobody's a bard.
Not yet. But we didn't get to season 4 yet. And we're only halfway through season 3. So
this is true.
I don't doubt that at all. Because everything has meaning in this. Nothing is done by accident.
Yeah, it seems to, for sure.
I don't doubt it one single bit that we'll get our bard. The other question is Will gay? And the answer is yes. Noah Schnapp said in an interview, Noah Schnapp is the one who plays Will Byers. Mm-hmm. Yes, Will is gay. And in real life, Noah Schnapp is gay as well. He came out a few months ago, which I confused with Finn Wolfhard. Right. Finn Wolfhard is straight. He just plays gay roles. So he is straight. But Noah Schnapp and Will are both gay. So there's the answers to those questions.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! I did it.
Well done, Kelly.
Thank you.
You're a super sleuth.
Thank you. It took me a whole 5 minutes to look up. So.
I mean, but it was an important 5 minutes.
It was because I really wanted to know. Because I like to be the queen of knowing all useless facts that are only good for Jeopardy. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, sometime in your life you could be at a 4-way stop, and there could be a semi truck headed towards you, and you're sure you're gonna get hit, and the guy leans out of the window is like, "Is Will Schnapp gay?"
I'll be like, yes,
yeah, and then he don't hit you.
Yeah.
See, that's how life really works.
Trust me, I know. My back is sore from bending over all the time.
Yeah. Well, stop doing it backwards.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, today we are going to discuss Stranger Things Season 3, Chapter 4, The Sauna Test. What were your general feelings on this one?
On the sauna? It was hot.
It was hot.
I really felt like the first half of the episode was pretty cold.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't know. And then you had texted me and was like, oh, this episode. And then shortly after, things went haywire, and I was like, oh, this episode.
Yes, right? The first half of the episode, it was like, where are we going with all this stuff? And how are we going to tie everything together? And
I really wondered if we were just getting kind of like a bottle episode where nothing really happened, but some exposition.
Oh, no, everything happened today. Everything.
Go ahead, lay it out. Let's do this.
All right. Let's start with Elle in the bathroom at Max's house, brushing her teeth. She hears Billy inside her head. She's going through the flashbacks and the visions. let's see. Oh, and Max is like, oh, Elle, it's okay now. And Elle's like, but dude, it doesn't make sense. And Max is like, let's read Wonder Woman comic books. And yay, everything's okay now. We flash over to the paramedics at Mrs. Driscoll's house. And Mrs. Driscoll, whose name is Doris, by the way, she's like,
Doris.
no, I have to go back. I have to go back. And she is like covered, her face, her chubby little arms covered in fertilizer. Like,
Yeah.
Gross. And you know, the paramedics put her into the ambulance, and the cop that is there with Nancy and Jonathan is like, what in the name of Jesus is going on? And they're like, and the cool thing is that when the ambulance sped past that abandoned steel mill, she reached out towards it. Mrs. Driscoll. She was like, I want it.
Right.
So that was weird. And now, because we just drove past the steel mill, now we're in the steel mill. And downstairs, sure enough, Heather's parents, Janet and Tom, they're all tied up. They're pleading with Heather. And Heather's like, there's no stopping it. You know, it's going to happen. And Billy's like, just try not to move. And this fucking giant, snarling, slimy, spider-like thing with legs, and the legs had legs, and it just goes like, and one of the legs like grabbed each of their faces, right, and like started sucking their faces,
which is weird to me, like conceptually, because what's it sucking out of them? Like I thought it was trying to put something in there, like to possess them, not.
Yeah, but it was clearly sucking. Yeah. It was making sucky noises. So
it was strange.
Which is kind of like, I don't know, mechanical wet macaroni or something. You know, it was making those
mechanical noises. Wet macaroni was the name of my punk band in high school.
Nice. What kind of songs did you sing?
Wet ones.
Wet ones. And don't you know, at that moment, we're never going to know. We're never going to know, because the opening credits come on. So That was the end of that. When the credits go off, it is the next morning. The sun is out. The storm is over. Birds are chirping. And we see a bruised and bloody Hopper waking up on his couch with Nurse Joyce taking care of him. And suave Hopper immediately throws up in a pot that Joyce handed to him. She's like, you know, doing the Nurse Joyce thing.
So do you think like he had a concussion or something?
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely it had to have been a concussion.
I was a little confused as to, one, why he threw up, and two, why she had a pot ready.
She said that he was in and out of consciousness all night long.
Yeah, but did she? And maybe he'd already thrown up.
He probably already threw up. That's what I assumed anyway. And then after Hopper takes the aspirin, he's like, "We got to get on this. We got to get on this." And Hopper stands up, and it's naked Hopper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dicks out for Joyce.
Naked Hopper. Joyce is the one who undressed him. There's naked Hopper on that couch all night long with Nurse Joyce taking care of him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then she got bashful, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, she was like, "Oh, you know, grab the blanket."
At that point, if I'm Hopper, I'm like, fuck this towel.
Yeah, right.
She's already seen the goods.
And she tries to explain that he was soaking wet, and, you know, brought him home very slowly, and then had to take off.
I don't remember why he was wet.
Because it was storming.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a massive thunderstorm. So, and if she got him into the house very slowly, I would imagine he would have gotten soaked. Yeah. So, naked Hopper on the couch. He starts getting dressed, and he's like, we got to find this guy. And Joyce is like, I kind of got a license plate. And he's like, all right, what's all these spaces for? And Joyce is like, well, I wasn't sure if that was an 8 or a B, and the license plate was kind of rubbed off here, so you just have to try to match a couple letters. And Hopper's like, it's going to take weeks for the guys to find a vehicle. That's not how the cops work. And she's like, well, it wasn't a car, it was a motorcycle. And like, light bulb, but we don't know why just yet. But light bulb went off in Hopper's head. So we scoot over to the walkie-talkie, declaring code red, code red. Max wakes up to the walkie-talkie, hearing it saying code red, and she's like, shut the hell up. She didn't have her coffee. She turns off the walkie-talkie. Phone rings. She picks it up. She starts to yell at Lucas, and it's not Lucas this time. It's Mike. Mike's like, something bad happened. You need to get over here right now. Something that could affect our lives. And
Right.
he hangs up the phone, so she can't answer him back. Because, I would have. So I imagine that, Max probably would have too.
Right.
Mike shouts out to Lucas, keep trying Dustin. He's like, Dustin's not answering. And Mike's like, keep trying Dustin.
Fucking Dustin.
Fucking Dustin. And don't you know, now we're going to see Dustin, who is on the mall roof again, watching, the armed guards with the binoculars doing their next shipment. He goes back into the ice cream shop that just opened with Steve and Robin. They need to find a way into that locked storage room. Okay. Steve with the hair, he wants to take out the armed guard, and him and Dustin start one of many bantering, bickering back and forth in this episode. Dustin brings up Jonathan and how Jonathan kicked the living crap out of Steve with the hair last season.
I thought he was Steve with the good hair. Now we've dropped good, and we're just acknowledging he has hair.
Okay, well, we'll say Steve with the good hair. He does have good hair. He really does have good hair.
I'm just saying, like, you used to call him Steve with the good hair, and now you're just calling him Steve with the hair.
Maybe because, like, so much happened in this episode that I'm trying to speed up my talking so that I finish on time.
Okay. So I'll keep interrupting because I'm a dick.
Yes, I love it when you do that. So Steve with the hair is like, blah, 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 blah. And Dustin's blah, 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 blah. And Robin has an idea because Robin's actually thinking clearly. She grabs all the tip money out of the jar and she scoots. She's gone. Now we're at the Hawkins Post because we need to check up on Nancy and Jonathan the next day, and they're in a little bit of trouble. Jake Busey's being a douche as usual. They're sitting outside the boss's office, and the door opens and the cop from last night leaves. Now here's my question. I have to break for a second, okay? This policeman that helped out with the ambulance the night before with Mrs. Driscoll and now is talking to the boss man at the Hawkins Post now. If something this big happened, how come you didn't call Hopper?
I believe that we saw our policeman standing in the room at the end of this episode.
Oh.
And that should answer that question.
I got to go back and look at that again. Okay. That makes sense then. All right. So Jake Busey's a douche. Cop leaves. Boss man goes into a 5-part bullet point list of how Jonathan and Nancy effed up. Mrs. Driscoll is just a paranoid schizophrenic. Her family wants to sue the newspaper. And then bullet point number 6, they're fired.
Mm-hmm.
Saw that coming.
Yeah. What I didn't notice was that her boss was Heather's dad. Like, I didn't put that together until he was standing there sweating with the big fucking wound on his head.
No way. I
Right?
didn't put that together either, Tom and Tom. I'm so dumb. Thank you for that.
That's why he was all
No
gross.
wonder why he was sweating
Yeah,
like that. And he
'cause
had
she
the
whacked him on
scratch
the
on his head.
Mm-hmm.
I just figured he got into an all-night bender or something. Oh, duh, Kelly. Duh, Lunar Girl.
Which is why I think the cop also.
Yes. Yes. That answers all my questions. It makes total sense.
Basically, this season is Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Well, now we're with Ellen Max, and they just show up to Mike's house. Will explains the feeling of the connection that he's been feeling with the Mind Slayer, first at the movies, then at the field when they were setting up the ham radio antenna, and then again at Castle Byers last night. Elle's like, but I closed the gate. And everybody else is like, but what if it got trapped in Hawkins when you closed the gate? What if it wasn't on the other side? It was on our side still. And if he's back, he's going to need a new host. And they're all like, well, who's the host? And yeah, we all know who the host is. But we'll never know. We'll never know because Hopper and Joyce are at Mayor Swine's office now. Okay, like that's where that motorcycle idea light bulb came. It panned right over to Mayor Swine's office. Hopper lets himself in and he locks the door. You know, the secretary's like, you can't do that. And Joyce is like, let's have a little chat. Hopper goes over to him and he wants the name of motorcycle guy. Hopper's like, I know you know who it was. He was in your office just the other day when I was here breaking up the protest. And Carrie Ellis is like, I don't know. He was just a plumber guy. And Hopper brings up Mayor Carey's coke use and Boff and the secretary and the Cadillac. The mayor brings up Hopper's drinking and pill popping on the job. Threatens to call the Post and end Hopper's career.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't want to hear him say his dead daughter story anymore. And that's when Hopper's like, it's showtime.
Time to choke a bitch.
He's like, slam! He slams the mayor's face right off the door, breaks his fucking nose. He's like, I want his name. And Mayor Carey's like, oh, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. And Hopper's like, bam! Right in his nose again. Breaks it even more. If he couldn't break it enough, he just broke it again. The secretary starts skitzing out, and Joyce yanks out the phone line and says, who are you going to call? The cops. Which was really funny. Hopper throws the mayor on his desk and sticks his finger in the little
in his butt
cigar. Huh?
No, not his butt.
No, not his butt. In a cigar chopper. You know, one of those, you put a cigar in it and chop the tip off the cigar.
I remember.
Yeah. So puts his finger in that and starts pressing down on it. And the mayor's like, I don't know the guy's name. Hopper like gets it a little further. And he's like, I get bribes from him. And he works for Starcourt. And Hopper's like, the mall. He's like, yes, they want to expand the mall. They need more land. Hopper wants the record of the sales. And just when you think everything's going to be okay, nope. Hopper grabs the mayor, grabs Joyce, says, oh, he banged his head in the wall. You know, he'll be fine, to the secretary, and they leave. So that was like, whoa. I just have to say it for all the ladies, okay? Hopper in his, peach-colored Magnum PI Hawaiian button-down shirt and acid wash jeans, like,
yeah,
that's nice. That's nice. Damn,
that assume.
Yeah, it was good. Good. So now we're with Nancy and Jonathan, and they're driving home because they were just fired. Nancy's pissed off. She thinks her ex-boss was on drugs. You know, did you see how he was sweating? And I should have picked it up then. I didn't, though. I was like, yeah, he probably is on drugs. I did. It just went right over my head. Jonathan, though.
Can't win them all.
I know. Jonathan, though, he totally freaks out on Nancy. You know, like, he lost his job. He didn't want to lose his job. He told Nancy to knock it off. And Nancy's basically a spoiled little rich girl, and she doesn't understand his poor and hard-working life. He needs all this money, and now he doesn't have a job. And maybe they just don't understand each other. And they're both crying, and that's how they didn't talk anymore. It was over between them. I don't know if they broke up or not, but it sure does look that way. Nancy comes into her house carrying this great big box, and there's Karen. Karen's like, "Oh, honey, you're home early." And there's Nancy walking up the stairs with the big old box. But I think Karen knows, because moms know, even though Karen's being a Karen lately, you know, even though Karen wants to go sleep around on Ted, and then, you know,
I think she's done with that. I think that was just
out. Yeah, she totally was out. But if you notice, though, like, her hair is perfect. It's dyed blonde now, where last season it was brown. She wears a lot more makeup now. You know, she's very nicely dressed. So she's going through something. She's going through something. Mm-hmm. So, but moms always know. Even if you're a Karen, moms know. But we won't know yet because we're with Robin, and Robin is riding her bike back to the mall. So I guess she left the mall. And she did leave the mall because she went and bought the blueprints to the mall with tip money from City Hall. Because she's really smart. And Steve's like, "Oh, we still can't get into that room." And he flips over the map, and she's like, "The air ducts. Go through the air ducts." And they unscrew the air duct, and very clean air duct. Okay.
And also impossibly small.
Impossibly small. And Dustin's like, "I'll do it." Wait, were you trying to say the air ducts are never that small?
Those are residential size air ducts, not industrial.
Oh, you see, I never would have known that.
Yeah, there's like that would be your main trunk line coming out of your furnace in your basement.
Right.
An industrial one is plenty big enough for Dustin to move around in.
Gotcha. Like the one in Die Hard.
Right.
It's the only movie I can think of that has a big air duct in it.
The thing about air ducts is you have to think about them like a river, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every time something branches off the river, there's less water to go down, right?
Right.
So, if you are going to feed 6 rooms off of one trunk line, the trunk line needs to be approximately 6 times bigger than the last vent. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you are going to use that in a space the size of a warehouse, or even like a, I don't know, let's say, let's say a room the size of a whole house,
right?
You would need a duct big enough to move enough air to heat and cool that space.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So they shouldn't have used tiny air ducts in a mall scene.
But it made for a cool story.
It did. Because, like, Dustin's all like, "I could do it. I don't have collarbones."
Right. It's just funny that you were like, "Well, those are awful clean." And I'm like, "Those are awful small."
And they were awfully clean.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like they were brand new or something.
Yeah, those were like the size of the duck that would go to, I don't know, maybe an upstairs run off of your main trunk line. Like,
Gotcha.
it was like this big.
Yeah, it was very small. It was very small. So Dustin tries to climb into it, and he can't get past his hips. And him and Steve start bickering again. And he's like, grab my ass. I don't care if you touch my ass. And
right.
Steve's trying to shove his ass in there. And they're just bickering back and forth like an old married couple again.
Mm-hmm.
But, of course.
And aren't shoulders wider than hips?
In men, yes.
I think in all humans.
But if he doesn't have any collarbones, then I'm sure he can, like, you know.
Yeah, I guess maybe you can roll them forward.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was trying to think of.
It's still going to be wider than your hips.
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Chicks have hips wider than their shoulders.
Yeah, this is true.
Chicks have to have babies. I mean, they don't have to have babies. They were made to have babies, so their hips are usually wider than their shoulders.
Or at least a baby shoulder.
Yeah.
Carry on.
All right.
Stop derailing.
Robin's thinking, and she's thinking, and she's thinking, and then there's Erica. Ding, ding, ding. Samples, please. And the light bulb goes off on her head, in her head. So, but we don't know yet. We still don't know yet. This had a lot of cliffhangers in every single jump that we did. Now we're at the pool, okay? We're at the pool, and the gang is watching Billy. And Billy's like all covered up from head to toe. He's wearing shirts. He's drinking a Slurpee, a slushie, I mean. And they're trying to say, like, he looks weird. And Mac's like, Billy always looks weird. And they're like, he's wearing a shirt. And nobody's ever seen him wear a shirt, you know?
Right.
So, yeah. So Max is still, she's very skeptical. Like, you guys are going to have to prove this to me. Mike is telling her the mind flayer likes to be cold. Will explains that maybe the mind flayer is not in him right now because he likes to hide, like he goes dormant, and he needs to be activated. And he's not activated right now. So maybe the mind flayer isn't technically in him, you know, or he's sleeping or something. I don't know. Whatever mind flayers do. So they made a plan to lock him in the sauna. No boys. I mean, boys only. So that's right. How they made that plan. We're back at the ice cream shop. Okay, what's in it for Erica as they're going over Operation Child Endangerment is what Erica coined it. Erica wants to know if there's booby traps. There's a table full of ice cream to bribe her. There's cones, there's bowls, there's a giant banana split that needs more hot fudge on it. Robin goes over the plan with her and the blueprints.
You said hot fudge, and I just went instinctually.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Bo.
In more ways than one. Anyway, Erica's like, this is child endangerment, and Dustin goes on a rant about how this is for America, and Erica's like, you can't spell America without Erica. And then Erica starts talking about capitalism, which is very odd for like a 12-year-old. She's like really intelligent. So she's like, if I do this, you know, and there might be booby traps and you're endangering me, I should get free ice cream for life. Especially because they told her about the armed guard, and you know, there might be an armed guard in the room. They don't know. They've never seen the inside of the room. So we're left on that cliffhanger. We don't know if Erica's going to say yes or not. But we are with Hopper and Joyce at Mayor McSwine's house. He goes to the safe. He gets the deeds. He gets the property transfers. Hopper wants to know, why are these at his house? And again, he's like, these peeps are bad news. I need to keep them here for protection. Joyce makes a connection when her and Hopper are, by themselves in the hallway looking at it. All these properties are by the power plant. And just a couple days ago, there was a mass power outage, and all the magnets fell down after that. So what if the machine that disrupts the magnetic field that she was talking about with, science guy, what if it's not in the lab? What if it's in one of these properties? And for a brief moment, they're flirting, and Hopper offers her a job, and I'm like, yes.
She's like, no, I don't want to have to look at you.
Yeah. But then the stupid mayor tries to jump out the freaking window. So, Hopper has to go and catch him. Shit like that. Stupid Mayor Carrie Ellis. So now we're back at Karen's house.
Did you say Carrie Ellis?
Carrie Elwes? Elvis?
Elwers?
ELWES?
Elwers.
Elwers? Elwers?
You're doing great. Keep it up. Let's go.
All right. We're back at Karen, and Karen's like, knock, 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 Nancy. And Nancy's not answering the door. So Karen's about to go downstairs, and then Nancy opens the door, and Nancy's crying, and they both go downstairs for a heart-to-heart, and Karen makes some tea. And Nancy just tells her everything, okay? And they're actually having a really good mother-daughter heart-to-heart. And Karen's telling her, well, yeah, being an adult is like shit, but you stood up for yourself, and I'm proud of you. And then Karen says shitheads. And then she said it again. She said shitheads. Yeah, so she encourages Nancy to pursue the story and then sell it to a big-time newspaper. So, whoa. Cool, way to go, Mom. That's exactly what I would have done. Only without the makeup and the fancy clothes. So, and all the Aquanet in her hair. But anyway, moving on. We're at the pool, okay? And the gang, they're prepping now. They're prepping to take down Billy. Lucas is with Will, getting tools ready. He tries to apologize to Will, and Will's like, it doesn't matter anymore. There's bigger things now. And then Mike and Elle are getting their stuff, and Mike's trying to joke around with Elle, and Elle's not having it. So Mike tells Elle the truth about Hopper. And Elle's like, what if Hopper's right? And just totally ghosts Mike. Totally ghosts him. And Mike's like, wait a minute, are you spying on me? And Elle's like, damn right I'm spying on you.
Yeah, he's like, it's against the rules. I make my own rules.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the end of that. And then Max interrupts on the walkie-talkie. Where are you guys? She's still all skeptical and shit. The camera fades to Billy all covered up with his Slurpee and his Zippo flicking. So
was that a Zippo?
That was a Zippo.
I knew that the sound.
Zippo.
I knew he was fucking with a lighter or something, but I couldn't figure out. It didn't have the same ring as I expected with the Zippo. He must not have been opening the lid.
I used to do that all the time where you grab the Zippo and it's sideways, and then you push down and the cap opens up.
I used to
instead of
I used to use my pants to open the lid and then light it with my pants.
I didn't like to do that because I wore ripped jeans all the time. It just didn't work.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I was a major grunger in high school, and I wore ripped jeans all the time. My jeans all the time. And they were naturally ripped. I did not go out and buy designer jeans that were pre-ripped for $50.
Stop pretending like you weren't a poser.
I was not a poser.
I'm not a poser.
Love you. Anyway, it's nighttime now, okay? And we're back at the mall, and Operation Child Endangerment is about to go down. And Erica is in the air ducts. And this is where it starts going really, really, really fast, okay? We see Jazzercise wife come home to Mayor Carrie
Ilwers. Ilwers.
There's no R in his name.
Oh, sorry. Ilwers.
Hi, but it's ELWES. How do you get an
I
R
can't.
sound?
It's because I'm from the North or the Midwest. I can't not say the R in it. Ilwers.
But there's no R in it.
I'm not saying R.
You said Ilwers.
Listen, Bronx.
Okay, helicopter man.
Doing the best I can.
It's okay. I still love you.
Viewers.
Mayor Swine Klein, the swine man, was handcuffed to a lamppost, which I didn't understand. He's handcuffed to a lamp. Why didn't you just knock the lamp over, you dumbass? But
Maybe it was
you know,
bolted to the. Remember, they did have when we were kids. They had those lamps that would be bolted to the floor and the ceiling, and they had
oh yeah.
I don't know if that's what that was because it didn't really.
It probably
but
was.
It could have been. Remember, they would have lights and they would have an ashtray built into them.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It was probably solid brass on top of that.
Yeah, basically a fucking stripper pole with lights and an ashtray.
Yeah, not the cheapo screw together Walmart lights that we have now.
Nothing was made that way back then.
No, you're right. That makes sense. Thank you. I needed that. And he's telling his Jazzercise wife to get him the damn phone. So
Jazzer wife.
Jazzercise. And then we're on Hopper and Joyce, and they're searching the properties and checking off the list. They're going through every single property.
I wonder if she was in the mall last episode.
She probably was.
That seems like the kind of thing that the Duffer Brothers do.
Oh, yeah. Easter eggs galore.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. I eat that all up. Except I didn't make the connection with freaking Ted. No, not Ted. Tom.
You can't win them all.
I'm mad at myself for that. So, okay, Hopper and Joyce searched the properties. They're looking through this one house. They didn't find shit, so they're about to go to the next house. Now we flash over to Erica. She's in. She made it. She opens up the doors and lets in Robin and Dustin and Steve with the good hair. And she says, "Free ice cream for life." So she's all happy about that. Now we're at the pool, okay? And the pool is closed and Billy's showering, and not the same effect. Like Hopper dropping the sheet at the beginning of the show. Nice. Billy in the shower, like, oh no, I don't need to be seeing this, okay? But that's just my own personal preference. The pool is closed. He hears the gang lock him in, and he's like, "Pool's closed, get the fuck out of here." And then you hear, "Come and find me." And Billy sees a shadow in the sauna. He opens up the door. He finds the CPR mannequin with the walkie-talkie strapped around his waist. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then he looks up because he's in the sauna now, and Al force slams him against the tiles. Okay. The boys lock the door and, they bolt it up. They use the heavy duty chains and the metal bar thingamajigger from the weights. Billy sees Max, and Max is like, "Do it." And they crank up the heat to 250 degrees.
Right.
But now we're at the hospital, so we don't know what happens yet because we're at the hospital, okay? And it's Nancy. And Nancy Driscoll going to see her grandmother, Doris Driscoll, with
Mhm.
some flowers. And Nancy gets in there, and Miss Driscoll, she's out cold, and she starts going through the charts and making notes. We're back to Steve. Okay, Steve opens a box. He's like, "This isn't Chinese food." He wants everybody to step back. Dustin and him start bickering again. Finally, Dustin says, "If you die, I die." And Steve's like, "Okay." He opens up like the twisty thingamajigger in the box, and it's like this green oozy slime with floaty things in it.
Uh-huh.
So weird.
I had a little trouble with the technology that I felt like was going on in these boxes.
Yeah.
Seemed pretty advanced.
Yeah.
But you know, I guess maybe I'd have to like cross-reference that with other science fiction shit that was from around that time.
And go over what the KGB was keeping secret.
Yeah, I mean that seemed like
did the KGB have like little twisty turny vial things and refrigerated dry ice type boxes?
Well, the dry ice we had, but I don't know about the precision cut aluminum vacuum sealed fucking, you know what I mean? Like it was just, I was like, I don't know. Like plastics are still kind of new.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. I don't know. I never delved into the KGB before to see what technologies they may or may not have had in 1985.
Yeah.
I know. Maybe I should. Maybe I should do that for next episode. KGB.
I bet you could just look up that episode and see if some people like chatted about, hey, that's not a thing.
I don't know, because if it's anything like Twitter, then everybody knows everything about everything, and in all actuality, nobody ain't no shit.
So. Yeah, but if nobody brought it up, then it's probably not a thing.
Yeah, that's true too. I would just rather read about the KGB and see if they had that kind of technology.
I think that barking up the KGB tree is the wrong tree. I think you need to look into medical science at the time. I mean, really.
Oh, like, no, my computer was just seized.
I don't know how much you know about Russian intelligence now, but it doesn't make me think that they weren't half as advanced back then as we thought they were.
You're right. I was not thinking.
They're kind of bumbling now. I can't imagine how we just believe their bullshit. Anyway. That's a whole different fucking thing.
So Steve takes the one vial out, and all of a sudden the room shakes, okay? And Erica's like, booby traps. And the room starts moving, and they're like, let's get out of here. And they try to open the door, and Erica's like, you just hit the open door button. And they're like, we're hitting the open door button, and it's not opening. And then all of a sudden, like a steel wall,
blast door,
reinforced. Yeah, a steel door. Well, an additional.
Technically, that would be is it would be a bulkhead.
Thank you. I don't know those words, but it came down and sealed them inside, and all of a sudden, that room that they were in was plummeting. It was plummeting because it's an elevator. It's not a room.
Yeah, like if you were in a boat or a spaceship or something, and something happened to one part of the ship, and they wanted to seal it off, the bulkheads come down, seal that compartment. Bulkhead.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't know I don't know. I pay somebody to do stuff like that, or DB could just explain it to me. I choose to no other things.
He's probably going to explain it to you now. As soon as he hears this, he's going to be like, damn it, Kelly. Bulkhead.
He's not caught up. Can you believe this? He is not caught up yet.
He's been very busy.
He has been. You know, living the American dream, you know,
Yeah.
overworked, underpaid, and, you know.
Nightmares or dreams.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But he gets to come home to this face every night. So.
Well, I mean, if you get that.
Yeah. I know. He's so lucky.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're at the hospital again, and Mrs. Driscoll, like, this is all going really fast, by the way, in the episode. It's just like bam, bam, bam. Mrs. Driscoll starts breathing rapidly, and her heart rate starts going up. And Nancy's just like oblivious to it all. We go over to Billy, who's totally freaking out in the sauna over at the pool, okay? And Will looks at the thermometer, and the temperature finally is up to 220 degrees, and Billy starts crying, and he's playing on Max. He's playing on Max's kindness. Mm-hmm. And he's like, it's not my fault. I did really bad things. I didn't mean to. He made me do it. He's a giant shadow. And Max is like crying, and she's feeling sorry for him. And she's like, Billy, it's all going to be okay. And he pleads and cries for Max to let him out. But out of view, he is grabbing one of the porcelain shards when the tiles broke, when Elle force slammed him into the wall. And thank God, Will feels the Mind Slayer on the back of his neck again.
Right.
And Will's like, he's coming, get away from the doors. And bam, Mind Flayer activated. Billy breaks the freaking window. He totally hulks out. He tries to open the door. Elle force slams him away. The lights are going on and off. Like, he's totally hulking out. Like black veins running through this stupid Billy body, okay?
Stupid Billy body.
At the same time, Mrs. Driscoll also starts hulking out. Okay, she starts getting black veins. Her heart rate and her blood pressure and everything is like through the roof at this point. Okay, now Nancy's starting to notice, and then Billy's screaming, and then Mrs. Driscoll is screaming, and Nancy's trying to call for help, but nobody's coming. Billy breaks the chains on the door, okay? Opens up, or Elle smacks him with the barbell, okay? Into the wall. Like, he got out of the room, and Elle's like, he grabs the barbell and like, bam, up against Billy's neck, you know, using Elle's force. And Billy's like, and Mrs. Driscoll starts howling in the hospital, and Billy breaks loose, and he goes after Elle. Like, no. And he starts choking Elle. Okay. Elle cracks. Elle croaks Will's name. She's like, Will. Because she's getting choked, you know. So she can't say Will, you know. She's like croaking it. Mike comes to the rescue and hits him with a metal bar over his head, okay? And Billy drops Elle, and like, thank God for that. So now Elle can breathe again. And Billy turns on Mike, and Elle is like, not my boyfriend, you mofo. She didn't really say that, but she did say that in my head. Yeah, like she totally would have said it in my Stranger Things show, okay? And Elle levitates him with all of her might. And then she roars, and she throws him through the motherfucking brick wall. And I'm like, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We have to pause for a moment on that one. She threw Billy through a brick wall.
She did.
Damn.
I don't know that that caught me off guard. It seems like that's. I mean, she was making people explode before.
Yeah, but a brick wall. That was cool. That was really cool.
But there's an
Like,
awful lot of like physical stuff in this part that like I struggle with. Like, you can only make a muscle so strong. You know what I mean? You just can only make a human muscle so strong. Like, you're not gonna be able to get it to punch through a fucking, plate glass window in a sauna.
He's possessed with the mind flayer, so
Yeah, I know,
there's
but
magical powers behind it.
there's only so much that you can, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, but in Dungeons and Dragons, you can use like spells and forces to reinforce your stuff and make it like 10 times stronger than the normal person. So.
yeah, but it's usually the spell that's doing the work, not his body. You know what I mean? Like, if he
but the
used
mind flayer is in his body.
sure, but his body broke the glass, so his hand is now goo. You know what I mean? And then she threw him through a brick wall. He doesn't stand up from that. His body is now goo.
Well, under normal circumstances, yes, but he is being possessed by a mind flayer.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
his mind is under control. He doesn't have a new body.
The mind flayer is reinforcing his body.
Ta-da! Magic.
Exactly. But
this is the shit I do to Brady, and he gets so pissed.
Oh, I know. I watch your episodes. I mod for ATSW the Escape Pod live on Wednesdays at 7:05 Eastern, 4:05 Pacific.
Yeah, watch me piss Brady off.
Yes, do it. Oh, excuse me. So after that, Elle collapses into Will's arm, or I'm sorry, Elle collapses crying into Mike's arms. Max and Will and Lucas are all looking stunned at everything. Billy gets up and starts running away. And then we hear the song Until We Meet Again start to play. There really wasn't that much music in this episode.
No,
that was the only really noteworthy song because it's part of the telling of the story. Of course, we're finally at the steel mill, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because all things have to end at the steel mill. And there's Heather, perfectly coiffed in her 80s yuppie style blouse and, shoulder pads and, 3/4 length skirt. Heather's cleaning Billy's face, because there was a little blood on there. There's a little blood.
Yeah. You would expect that being thrown through a brick wall.
Yeah, just a little bit of blood though. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
And Billy's like, she knows about us. And Heather's like, or Billy's like, she knows about me. And Heather's like, but not us. Not us. And she's like, just touching up his face, and the camera pans out. And there, not only are her parents down there, but there's like a shit ton of townspeople down there now.
Mm-hmm.
All standing, all staring
and I'm pretty sure we see that cop.
Yeah, I got to go back and look at that.
I think he's even got his hat on.
I definitely got to go back and look at that. You know what? I'm not going to go back and look at that. I'm just going to take your word for it that he was there. I totally believe you. Because it makes sense.
Yeah.
And they're in front of all of these, like, pod people. Is that giant spider, like, slime, black, icky, with the many legs, and the legs have little legs, and
it's mind play. The
end. So
we got what, 4 more episodes this season.
We've got 4 more episodes this season, and unfortunately, we're not going to be back in 2 weeks because we're going to be at the Sidebar Family Celebration in New Jersey.
We might be back in 2 weeks because
we're not going to be back Thursday. In 2 weeks.
Yeah, but we record on Thursday.
But I'm not going to miss a party to mod the chat and hang out with our awesome viewers in our live chat. Like, no offense, guys, but I really want to be present at the party that night. So
me and Brady have Jelly Roll on Thursday that week anyway.
That is true. Brady told me about that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we usually record on Thursdays and then we live premiere it on Saturdays with all you guys in our live chat. But that's not going to be happening until Saturday, September 2nd, Labor Day weekend. So
Yay.
We will start the second half of Stranger Things next month.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
You got anything else to say, Kelly?
Yeah, thank you everybody for joining us. Really appreciate you guys. I have a blast hanging out with you guys in the chat. So, yay. Thanks, friends.
Rock on. We'll see you.
Yeah. Bye.
Hey.